Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So guys, this is going to be blisteringly quick. Roxanne Meadows is coming up. Roxanne Meadows is co-founder, if I'm not mistaken, to the Venus Project, or at the very least, she is the person who's carrying on the legacy of Jack Fresco. This is a few things. This is a notification that I'm coming up next, but it's also this kind of thing to point a finger at something. Take a look at this. So one of my subscribers who is in Switzerland, and I can find his name if I was not trying to be blisteringly quick in doing this. Okay, I'll find his name in a few. Gentleman from Switzerland. He gives me a heads up. He says, look, I'm one of your fans in Switzerland, and I came across the story about Dutch. I think he was getting at the point that Cenk Uygur made this kind of argument saying that there were Dutch officials staring at Russian hackers while the Russian hackers were in the process of hacking somebody else. I heard this was like, come on, dog. Come on, dog. Come on, man. Come on. But that being said, besides the point, this is not the exact same issue, so fair enough. And I need to look more into that. But I heard that it sounded somewhat bogus to me. But who knows? It's possible. Who knows? This one is very specific. Take a look at this. Since he brought up Dutch foreign ministers admits lying about Putin comments. Now, again, I don't know if this is the same thing Uygur was talking about, and it might not be. I'm just making the point that the Russia hysteria pushed and promoted by the United States has not been this thing that's been taking over the world. This hysteria is here in the United States. And yet, you would imagine that, I guess, the United States being the dominant power that it is, there are vestiges of it that kind of seek out everywhere else, at the point where the United States is screaming at the top of his lungs about Russia attacking the world, while the United States is in the process of literally having 70% of our military in other parts of the globe, or parts of the globe being taken up by our military. How are we screaming about Russia? Well, since we're talking about Dutch, or the Netherlands, Dutch foreign ministers admits lying about Putin comments. Do you remember when Adam Schiff was also screaming that this stuff was taking place? That they were screaming that this stuff was also taking place in France. France says no trace of Russian hacking. Macron. What do you say? Germany. Germany election mystery. Why no Russian meddling? They're saying that Russian meddling is in all of these places, and yet not so much. Not so much. You know who's meddling in those places? Us. Us. We are in many of those places. Dutch foreign minister, I cannot pronounce that last name, admitted on Monday he had lied about hearing Russian President Vladimir Putin make comments about plans for Greater Russia, unleashing a storm of criticism. I told an untruth. It was unacceptable, he told reporters. Zelensky, who is scheduled to meet his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, in Moscow in 2 days' time, said he had been stupid and he regretted his behavior. While the election campaign 2 years ago, Zelensky said that in 2006 he had been at Putin's dacha when he heard the Kremlin's leader speak of plans for a Greater Russia, which will include some of Russia's neighbors. I was tucked away in the back room, but I could clearly hear Putin's answer to the question about what he considered Greater Russia. Zelensky told a gathering in 2016 of his People's Party for Freedom and Democracy, which heads the new Dutch government. He said this included Russia, Belarus, the Ukraine, and Baltic states, as well as Kazakhstan, which would be nice to have, he said in his speech, which has been recorded on video. But on Monday, he acknowledged he had never been at the meeting with Putin and had heard the comments secondhand. I wasn't present at the meeting at President Putin's dacha, the Prime Minister said in a statement on Monday. The discussion did take place, and someone who was there told me President Putin said about Greater Russia. Zistra said he was prepared to discuss the matter with Parliament, which has the power to dismiss him. He flat out lied. He flat out lied. I heard this with my own ears, that Vladimir Putin was going to open up a can of whip ass on multiple countries near Russia. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't hear that with my own ears. But somebody told me. Somebody told me. Was that guy American? Was that guy an American? Was he part of the CIA or NSA pushing this nonsense about Russian hacking? Who was the source? I want to know who the source was. So let's see. In a scathing editorial, the prominent daily business newspaper Het Financiële Dagblad called on the minister to step down. Staying on will undermine the credibility of the cabinet, not only criticizing Russia, but also in the campaign against fake news. In the process of going against fake news, he himself was pushing out fake news. And again, he used Russia and the hysteria that's been propagated by Democrats. For all intents and purposes, because they lost the election. Riding on the wave of this type of hysteria to come up and say Russia was planning on essentially a massive amount of expansion. He lied through his teeth. Good job on the Dutch for calling on his ass to step down. Good job on not having essentially a zero tolerance for fake news and lying in this degree for political gain. Good job. All right, guys. I am about to do a test for Roxanne Meadows. I see her on. She doesn't feel all that well today, so the number of questions that we would typically take is probably not going to be there. But nevertheless, she'll be here, even though she's not going to be 100%. All right, guys. Thank you.